Biotech firm Evommune, which started trading on the stock exchange last month, says it's on a mission to develop new treatments to treat chronic inflammatory disease. Its CEO, Luis Pena, sat down with Ashley Mastronardi to talk more about it. Let's take a look.
Let's take something like eczema or urticaria, where at first it just seems like a skin disease and certainly has a big impact on your quality of life. Not only is it a sign that you obviously have a skin disease, but it's also a sign that you have a systemic inflammatory disease. And that is dangerous. We now know that over time, those diseases, if left untreated, can lead to cardiovascular disease, metabolic diseases like diabetes that actually can limit your lifespan. So it's been great that in the last 20 years or so, there's an increased focus on the fact that that happens. And it's really important for us to try to discover more therapies to try to limit that.
And I understand you've been in the biotech industry for 30 years. Why did you decide to focus on chronic inflammatory diseases with Evommune?
Well, it's the number one killer in the world. Many people think it's cancer, but actually 3 out of 5 people in the world currently die from chronic inflammation because they have these comorbidities associated with it. So for us, even though there's been great advances in the last 20 years or so, there's still a lot to do. And we saw an opportunity for us to have great programs that could target chronic inflammation.
And you co-founded Evommune in 2020. 5 years later, you were going public on the New York Stock Exchange. Can you take us through that journey?
Very exciting. First of all, this is an iconic place. It has so much incredible history. And for us as a young biotech, to be able to come here is extraordinary. We've been busy. We have a very special team, very hard workers, and we have really focused on a great culture. Everyone's friendly, very skilled, and works so hard. And so for us, when we wake up every day, our first thought is the joy of what we're doing. And that's really paid off. And so we have had a discipline of driving a pipeline of different programs forward and a steady cadence of putting those programs in the clinic. And that is what has led to us having now 2 programs in mid-stage clinical development, which is pretty fast for a young company like us.
What has the feedback been from people in these clinical trials?
Well, we ran a mid-stage clinical trial last year in people with urticaria, with hives, and it improved their condition. Up to 70% of the patients had some response, and 30% had a complete response, meaning that the urticaria they came in with in the trial was completely gone. On top of that, nearly 80% of the patients had an improvement in itch. And for our lead drug, EVO756, which is a drug that targets both mast cells as well as sensory neurons, your nerves, which drive inflammation, that was a great result. And we were excited about that. And we think this could be a potential new oral to treat urticaria, which is a space that needs many more therapies.
In addition to the drugs, do you think a holistic approach is also needed in terms of diet, lifestyle? Can you talk a little bit about how that works?
The reason there's now 100 autoimmune diseases in the world is that we are certainly bombarding our bodies with insults that our immune systems just can't keep up with. And one of the problems is that we don't know what those are. And I am optimistic that over time, we will be able to discern that. So we know now that there are some foods, for example, that drive inflammation, but it's not really clear which ones drive disease. And so in the meantime, it's important for us to develop more therapies that dial down the inflammatory process, which is what we're doing. And so we're trying different areas in the immune system where we're dialing it down and finding out which area is safe to do so, first of all, but secondly, which area impacts which disease. And that's really exciting. And so it's going to give us time. It's going to give us time to figure out why we're driving so many autoimmune diseases. So in the near term, it's all about therapies.
So Luis, if somebody has a chronic inflammatory disease such as hives or eczema, what is the first step they should take?
Go to your physician as soon as possible. For those two, it would be a dermatologist. They are specialists in understanding what it is and how they should be treated. And the important thing about treating it early is you may stop the progression of more severe disease. And that's what we really start being worried about, because as the disease progresses to be more severe, it could lead to cardiovascular disease, it could lead to metabolic disease. And these are the things that could limit your lifespan. So first of all, go to a dermatologist. They're going to increase your quality of life with the therapies they're going to give you. But more importantly, they're going to stop the progression of the disease.
All right. And you mentioned your employees. You have 60 employees. Do you have a message for them today on IPO Day?
Yes, I get very emotional when I start talking about that. It's so special. It's a family for me. We're close. They're all in my heart. I carry them in my heart. This is an incredible, special day. And I just want to say thank you. So much work has been done to get us here. And it included every single person at the company. We could not be here without that. And just so excited for what we can do from here on.
All right. And what is the timeline for these medications that you're developing?
So next year is a really important year for us. We actually have 3 data readouts with 2 of our mid-stage clinical programs. So we're going to find out a lot about how these potential medications are working. And if the readouts are good, then that could lead to late-stage clinical development, which would be great for patients.
All right, thanks again to Evommune CEO Luis Pena and our Ashley Mastronardi for that interview.